I have a very special guest today. FLETT she started to get a little bit better known to people in Alberta because she was made the interim leader of Wexit Alberta movement at one time, and that has changed, but she hasn't quit, and she's got some exciting news. So Kathy, take it away.
Thank you. It is exciting news. It feels like it took a long time to make it happen, but it's only the end of January, so really it didn't. It's just when you're putting in those long hours, sometimes days just run into the next and you kind of don't realize how much time has passed. But yeah, so everybody knew, I think, that we did have a parting of the ways with the Wexit Alberta group, and that ended up actually being for the better, I think, for everybody. And there were some who were involved with Wexit Alberta who came as well. There was kind of a group of us that left. And in our conversations, we decided, you know what, we just love this province and our people way too much. We're not stopping. We are going to keep going and keep talking to people and try and figure out where we fit now and where we can really serve the people of Alberta the best and get this separation movement continuing on and the momentum moving, whatever that might look like. In all of those conversations, and it was a lot of conversations with a lot of people from all of the different parties that are associated with this movement. It more and more made sense to do what we could to support the Freedom Conservative Party. And I've been called out on that already. It's not even the first day, and I've been called out on that, and I get it, understandably so. A lot of people think that they're not an independence party, that they're not a separatist party. But I learned myself, I thought the exact same thing. And I learned myself that that's not entirely true. They are, what their constitution says, and you can read it right on their website, is equality or independence. And they invited 6 of us to put our names forward to be voted onto their board. And all 6 of us are very adamant about the separation, the independence side. And we were very, very robust at making sure they understood that there's no waving from that. There's no softening that position. This is who we are. This is what we're fighting for. If that's okay with you, we're happy to come in and lock arms and work together and move forward. And so their board had a meeting and we had a meeting, and through a whole bunch of conversations back and forth, emails, texts, all the rest, it was decided, yeah, you know what, let's just see what this could look like. And yesterday afternoon, I think all of their board members, if I'm not mistaken, made time on a Sunday to meet and to meet us and vote us in. And we are interim leaders in there. We're interim board members. I really admire the FCP because they are grassroots, right to the core, and for them, their membership drives their decision making, not them. And so we're interim. The membership will vote at their next AGM if they like us or not. And until then, 6 of us had better get busy proving ourselves that we should be there.
Oh, sorry about that. My light just moved. But no, that's good. That's good to hear. And I remember you talking about that when you were still with Wexit, about this, you know, some of the parties are independent for independence and some aren't. Yeah. I'm glad that's all getting cleared up. The other thing too is, and I guess you're going to get more of a feel for this, but the last time you and I talked, you know, you were very positive then with speaking with people from these other parties on how much people are willing to work together. And with your discussions yesterday and meeting these people in person, is that still a sense that you have? Is it still look like all these different entities in Alberta are truly friendly and working together?
Absolutely, absolutely. And what's been really encouraging is that the deeper we get into this and the more people that we're talking to, the more that becomes apparent that yeah, we recognize we need to do this together. What that looks like, we'll iron that out as the days and weeks and months come on. But there's a definite willingness that let's sit down at the table. Let's plan maybe some joint events. Let's do things to keep this moving forward and to make sure Albertans know and understand why we really feel that independence is our only way out of this mess that we're in.
Yeah, no, that's right. I've myself, I've kind of been paying attention to the Alberta Independence Party for quite a while, even since the last provincial election, and with what they're doing now with their 7-step plan, and it's again with the Freedom Conservative Party, I see a lot of the same message is that look, we want to do this right. We want everybody to be involved. And again, you and I talked about this before, is that we both recognize that there's people on all sides of this issue. There's people that in Alberta want independence. They want Alberta to be free and make its own choices. There's people that want that, but they want to stay in Canada. They want Alberta to stay in Canada as we are now, but just have a stronger voice, more political power, economic power, etc. And then there's people from the rest of Canada who will be affected by this. They have skin in the game when Alberta leaves, or if Alberta leaves, right?
Yeah.
So with what I'm hearing from everyone, there's going to be some bridges burned, but we're also dealing with people here that realize that and truly do want to represent everyone in Alberta.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And not just represent everyone in Alberta, but also work together to put pressure on the elected officials that we have now. We put them there. They have an obligation to work for us. And so the more we're working together, the more pressure that puts on them to say, Penny, get your fair deal. I'm not convinced we're going to get a fair deal, but there's a lot of people that want to see that happen. Well, the more that the separatist movement is working together, communicating together in solidarity to push him to do that, that's all the more strength behind it. We're going to see it. And I think as we continue to move along, we're also going to be able to bring in that education piece with much more validity than we've been able to do before, just because of the nature of the people that we're talking to now that have, they went to school for much longer than I would ever consider and have all these letters after their names, but they understand the different facets of separation in a way that we can then communicate to Albertans. You talked about those that just want autonomy. Okay, but then the next government comes in and takes that away from us because we still don't have adequate representation in Ottawa. And it's easy for me to say that. It means more when somebody who really studies this stuff says that. And because we're joining forces, we're going to be able to attract those people to come in and back what we're saying. Some other people, they say, no, we love Confederation. We want to still be a part of this family. We can make it work. I think as we journey through this whole equality thing, you're going to find out we can't. We just can't. We'll always be the ones that's supporting everybody else, even when we're in a 5-year recession. And bringing those numbers down to something that our brains can manage. And we're going to be able to do that now together rather than fighting for the screen, if you will, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other argument too.
Yeah, like the other day.
Valid. Yeah, it's a very valid argument. Is a lot of people are making memes and messages and posts and videos, and they're saying, look, if Alberta was a separate country already, and Canada was saying we want you to join, but we want you to join with the rules that Alberta's living with now, don't think we'd be coming in. Right?
No.
So that message is actually resonating right across Canada.
Yeah.
And the support for Alberta across Canada is bigger than the federal government and the media wants everybody to know. If you haven't seen it, or if the people on watching haven't seen it, I did an interview with What's Up Canada, and Wayne went along with the United We Roll to Ottawa when they went through last year. And the support all the way across Canada and into Ontario, even in the populated areas, for Alberta and for what's going on and for the energy sector and the people and what they're going through is immensely huge. And it's because not just about oil and gas. Oil and gas is not our one trick pony, and a lot of people across Canada understand that. It's our, you know, our agriculture and our manufacturing sectors and our forestry and all these things. It's huge. And so they see what's going on. And you know what? People across Canada are going through this economic recession like the rest of us too. We're just kind of being hit the hardest in Alberta because they want to beat us down, but they're beating the wrong horse.
Well, they are, right? Because what's fascinating is Alberta was built on people coming here ready to work hard and that entrepreneurial pioneer spirit, and it's in our blood. It is who we are, and you can't beat us down for very long before we sit there and go, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's time for us to stand up and stand on our own 2 feet. And for many of us, that means leaving Confederation. And yeah, I mean, there's a sadness to it because we all have got our Canadian passports. We've all got friends and family that are all over the country. And I was having an interview and a meeting with one gentleman, such a great guy who was here a little while ago, a reporter from Ontario. And I said, well, the next time you come here to do a media scrum or whatever it is you do, you might need a passport. So just a heads up. And the look on his face, he's like, I guess so. Yeah, that's what this means.
Yeah, and you know, it's that's the truth. I met some of those same reporters that was the weekend that Wexit had its rally at the legislature.
Yeah.
I met some of those same reporters and met Peter Downing. I met oh boy, just so many Albertans. And yeah, I mean, again, the sentiment really is that something has to be done, and people are working towards it. And again, this is going to flow over to the rest of Canada, and I'm hoping, as many of us are, that, you know, we don't have to put up a big fence for a border. We don't have to, you know, have, you know, gates and guards and all that. I mean, hopefully there can be some kind of an agreement. Like, you will need border guards, etc., and that. But I mean, you know, I don't think there's going to be tanks and helicopters flying around if we can avoid it. And I think that the people across Canada understand that, and they feel the same way. And I think that in order to save Canada, every province needs to make their own deal. Quebec is in the winning. They're in the hot seat right now. They're in the winning seat right now. And the rest of Canada is like, well, that's fine, but it's time for a change. It's been 150 years, and it's been over 30, almost 40 years since the last attempt at a constitution and the Charter of Rights and Freedoms that we have now, which nobody listens to. The government doesn't pay attention to it whatsoever. They don't honor it. They come up with all these new laws and bills that actually go against it, and Canadians suffer. And yeah, it's time to do something about it. So, is there a timeline? Like, I guess the Freedom Conservative Party is, because their members do the voting, their members make the decisions. I would imagine that there's going to have to be an annual general meeting, or at least some kind of a general meeting for people to you know, make a decision. Or are you looking at possibly, has there been talk of an online vote, or can you help us out with that one?
Yeah, you know what? I want to help you out with that one, but I am 24 hours in, and I don't have an answer for you yet on all of that stuff. So I'm sure when we have our first board meeting in February, those kinds of details will be ironed out and dates will be released as to how they want to proceed and go forward with that.
Okay, well, that's cool. Good. you know, I'm looking forward to the news of what's going on. And again, you know, some of these other parties and these groups, people are making headway. There's, you know, people are getting together and talking, which is really great. We saw that with the Wexit rallies. We've seen it with the Freedom Conference that you went to. I can't remember the title of that one that you were at the last weekend there. What was that, sorry?
The Value of Alberta.
Value of Alberta, right. And again, too, like you voiced and reported on your Facebook page, is that, you know, a lot of the people that you thought there might be some sticking points, no, that's not the case. Some of these people that are, like you said, well educated, they're well connected, they have corporations and large businesses, they deal with government on a regular basis. And yeah, it's everybody from the little guys like me and you to right up to the people like even that aren't Albertans. And we could throw some famous names around that were at that conference, but there's other famous Albertans that that want this too. They maybe don't want independence, but they see the struggle, they see the fight, and they're willing to stand up for people's rights. And I think that goes a long way.
So. It really does. And there were a couple of speakers at the Value of Alberta conference who did say, like one of them even said, please don't go, because the repercussions on the rest of the country are going to be really big.
Yeah.
And, you know, saucy me is like, oh, well, we've been hurting for the last 4 years, and right. But at the same time, I completely understand what he was saying. So there was that sentiment too, but not one of them said we couldn't.
Right.
None of them said that this couldn't happen. And that was very intriguing to me, because I went to that conference actually thinking that's what we were going to hear.
Yeah. You know, on the other point I'd like to make here, and again, you and I have had this conversation before.
Mm-hmm.
What a lot of Albertans don't understand, or they do, but they don't put it out front like they should. And same with the rest of Canada. We are taxed to death. We are taxed on taxes, which should be absolutely illegal. Okay.
Yep.
So even when times were good for everybody in the country, when the dollar was good and everything was working and manufacturing was high, the auto industry was still strong. Bombardier didn't need a bailout. The banks didn't need a bailout. Even when that was happening, the people were not getting their value on the work they put in and what they were getting paid for it. And that needs to change. And then over time, as we all saw, especially again, the last term of the Justin Trudeau Liberals, they just keep making it harder, taking more away. You know, Rachel Notley and other provinces put in these carbon taxes, and the federal government did as well, and other restrictions on business and on the wheat board, and you name it, it just keeps going and going and going. And again, people need to understand that that doesn't work. And all these new Canadians that are being brought in, they're coming from countries where they're trying to get the hell out. And if Canada was prosperous, there would be places and jobs for these people. They wouldn't have to live off the rest of our dime. But that's putting a big strain on it. And so instead of being able to welcome these people in and get them in the community and get the jobs rolling and build the country stronger, have a larger population with more production, we don't. It's going the opposite way. It's you know, they're tipping the cart, and we have to stop it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, wow, lots of information. I'm really glad you came on today. And again, you know, we've had so many great talks, you and I know that you have a lot of people that you talk to, and you're going to be busy with everything that's going on. And everybody out there, I'm pretty sure all you have to do is, it's Kathy with a K, and the last name is FLETT with an F and 2 T's on the end. And if you Google that in the next couple of days, you'll be able to find all kinds of information on what's going on, and more about the Freedom Conservative Party. From there, you'll find links to the other parties in Alberta who are, again, it's Albertans trying to get this done and be Alberta first. Kathy is she's got a family and she's got her own businesses, and you know, she's putting a lot of time in for this. And Kathy, thank you for all of that.
It's my pleasure. Everybody's future is dependent on the decisions we make today. So it's really an honor to be even just a small part of it.
Thank you. Okay, well, hey, thanks for coming on The Voice of Alberta. Everybody, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.